Hi, very good afternoon to you. It's June from Maverickstar Observatory. A little bit later on in the video, we're going to talk about the latest Earth Health at a glance anomalies. You know, every now and then we try and do it every week, but something always comes up. We look at CO2. We've got CO2 equipment here to monitor atmospheric CO2, atmospheric oxygen, background radiation, muons. The muons, by the way, will not be coming in from Canada until obviously our muon detector gets back over there, because it's been here for the last few days being repaired. But usually we have that updated, and you know, we look at things like volcanoes in eruption, the latest earthquake with the largest magnitude over the last 24 hours, and we put that up on the website for you. It's already up there, guys. If you want to just quickly go there, you can if you want. You don't have to watch the rest of the video. However, you're going to miss some important things, so it's worth sticking around. So I want to get off started before we start looking at the Earth Health at a glance things by saying a huge big thank you to those few people that have been chipping in a few bucks over the last few days. Why is it important to raise money? Because we're trying to take on one of the biggest scams ever pulled on human kind, as well as inform people of the real reasons why climate is changing on our planet. There's not a lot we can do about it. It's changing for more than one reason. It's changing because the Earth is going through a magnetic pole reversal. It's changing because we are experiencing an all-time low in solar activity, commonly known as, by you guys, the grand solar minimum. And it's changing because our Earth is going back into a glacial period for the first time in probably 13 to 15,000 years. But it is worth us doing something proactive on this matter of CO2 being ostracised by, you know, these cronies, this mafia organisation, these self-proclaimed and self-elected individuals that come from mainly just two organisations in our world, and they seem to have the power to oversee and over-control and overrule any other country at the moment, including, you know, the United Kingdom, including the United States, including Canada. These people that run these countries, like the Bidens, the Sunaks, and that guy in Canada, Justin somebody or other, not really a influential character, but you know what I'm on about, that guy that said we've stole the money off the truckers, that sort of guy. You know, none of them in the European Union and the United Nations was elected by anyone. But these are the guys that are driving the scams that are going on right now, and we're talking a billion pound industry. And they're ostracising CO2 as the criminal here, and it's a load of lies. And something should be done about it, because these people that are involved in these green companies are waxing themselves ridiculously rich on the back of the burden of the global taxpayers. We can't take on organisations like that without some kind of funding. Right now, and I don't know who funds these organisations, I believe, you know, they are government funded. But just to give you, for instance, today we've got the British Grand Prix on, or the Grand Prix, some class it as. But there's protesters there that are saying that this is, you know, unthinkable. We shouldn't be having racing cars run on fuel, you know, combustibles, using combustion engines, and for that reason they're prepared to enter onto a track where cars are going 200 miles an hour, and, you know, cause mayhem there. It's mind-blowing. We've got do-gooders that haven't done no research, going out buying EVs, electric vehicles, Teslas, you know, all across the range. I ain't going to mention all the companies and give them advertisement, but these people have done zero research, because if they did, they know that if you compared a combustion brand new car with an electric brand new car, you would know that from day one they were not greener. You know, the batteries get spanked within about 7 years use of it. And if we're talking about renewables, how can we be even thinking of going down the road of electric vehicles? I think that the people that buy electric vehicles are the same people that purchase a brand new iPhone every year. You know, they just want to be drawing attention to themselves. I really don't believe that they give a shit about the environment or the ozone or you know, the climate. And they certainly are lacking in the knowledge of what is causing these changes, because, you know, they would believe, just like, you know, some of these blind people that work for these green companies believe that it is CO2 that is damaging our environment. It's a lucrative business, and you've been pacified by these officials, brainwashed to some degree. I mean, how many times have we got to mention the Roman warm period, you know, the medieval warm period, the Hallucin warm period? How many times have we got to show you charts, the Milankovitch cycle, which shows every 100,000 years our Earth goes into a cooling period for 80,000 years? We're returning back into one of those right now. But, you know, there is right now a most serious crime being committed by these organisations, and they're getting away with it scot-free. And the only reason why they're getting away with it right now is because they're controlling the narrative. You know, they're controlling the mainstream media. They're controlling organisations that support CO2, you know, damaging our environment and changing the climate. The real truth is going unreported. You know, with the opening up now of, you know, the battery industry for these electric vehicles, it has brought back into play child labour and, you know, almost bottom bidder paid labour. I'm talking $1, $2 a day to go into an open cast mine and bring back cobalt so that these batteries can be manufactured, lithium. You know, and then there's the destruction on a grand scale of the local environment of where these mines are. And this is being conducted in some of the poorest countries with the poorest human rights welfare, to say the least. You should not be buying electric vehicles, because before you do that, you should seriously have a look at all the ins and outs, and you will find that it is much cleaner to buy a combustion engine and use, yes, petroleum or diesel to run it, because we have a trace gas in our atmosphere, and it's called a trace gas because it's only a trace of it. There's not a lot of it. There's not even 0.5% of it. To be accurate with you guys, 0.04% of our entire atmosphere's CO2 is just that, a trace and a smidgen, and a trace of anything never changes anything. They're dealing with billions of pounds. We're dealing with, you know, hundreds of pounds. If we're going to make some serious impact into this, and we can beat them, we really can beat them, because we've got the facts to back it up now. You know, there is no way they will win a debate on climate being altered by CO2 if we can get that debate going. And if we make enough noise, they've got no alternative but to have that debate, and it needs to be had, because the industries around the world cannot afford any more of this. The taxpayers cannot afford any more of this. So, you know, there is something that can be done, but if we're talking just pound notes here, it's not going to get done very quickly, and the impact that we'll have will be minuscule. You know, you can do your bit. If you want, you can chip in some money here at the observatory. It will support the war on, you know, the ostracisation of CO2. Yeah, we're going to call it that, because something really seriously needs to be done about this. Because It's ridiculous. Any scientist that supports CO2 as changing our climate needs to be locked up, segregated from the rest of humanity for that stupidity. There's nothing wrong, believe me, there is nothing wrong with having alternative views, and I support alternative views, but we have gone way beyond alternative views here, and we have left the science completely way behind. There is no way they can win their argument if we can get that debate had. And as soon as we have that debate, the faster we can put a stop to this nonsense. That means there might be a glimmer of hope where your taxpayers' dollars can go to something more meaningful. We face a lot of problems in this world. 3, which I generally talk about: the grand solar minimum, the magnetic pole migration, and the returning back to a glacial period. 3 things that you're not hearing about in mainstream media. They're covering it up like, little school children that won't even have the debate on these topics. They think that these things do not alter climate, but historical records and solid scientific research has been conclusive to show that these things change the climate in our world. I think I should start mentioning the names of these people just to give them back a little something, an acknowledgement of, their token of support that they give to our observatory. But I want to offer, we need to raise more money if we're going to take on this problem. I'm just going to put it out there, and I know it's going to sound like an hell of a lot of money for some people. I'm just going to say straight off the bat, you know what? If you're thinking about putting it on your credit card, don't bother. You know what? If you can't afford to, don't bother. I'm just saying that if you have the surplus cash, then maybe you might want to consider just a little something we can give you back. We have currently around 20,000 people view our website, which is dedicated to Poleshift news and some of the other anomalies that we discuss here on this channel. And we're going to put up on the landing pad of that website, poleshiftnews.com, on the very first page that you get to, your name as honorary member if you want to chip in £1,000. I know, you've just fell off your chair and laughed, but let's get serious. We're dealing with organisations with billions of pounds, and we can make a difference. But we can't make a difference with small amounts of money. It needs to get realistic. And I'm not expecting lots of people to, chip in that kind of money. But it is on offer for those that can afford it. And I would like to think that there are a couple of people out of the 60,000 people that we've got subscribed to YouTube channel that would, wouldn't mind supporting such a cause. Let's face it. You're paying for it, whether you like it or not, right now. And I've not calculated what the average cost to the individual is right now, but you can imagine your electricity has doubled, and so has your grocery doubled, and so has your other energy costs and needs, like the fuel in your car. Everything has doubled. So it's having a cost right now. And right now, you're probably not doing anything about it, or you're not supporting anybody that wants to do something about it. So there's an opportunity. If you want to become an honourable member, there's an opportunity. We'll put your name as an honorary member on our landing mat, where 20,000 people a week will find that. You work that out over the year, how many people will see that you have supported us in this. Or alternatively, I understand completely that is a bit pricey, not for everyone. If you want to just make a one-off contribution, the PayPal link is down there. It's entirely up to you. And like I said, I will try and mention the people from now on that make, a reasonable contribution on there as well. Guys, it's Saturday. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We are in a time of crisis right now, in short. This has gone on long enough now. There are scientists out there that are walking away from their positions because of the ignorance that has been largely came about by those two organisations that seem to have all the power in the world, the United Nations and the European Union. And if you mention, in your titles on some of these videos, you get the banner directing people to the Brainwashing website, where they explain their terms or their views on what causes climate change. The Industrial Revolution started at 1760. The medieval period was a lot longer ago than that, and temperatures was hotter then than they are now. The Industrial Revolution started once again in 1760, and we can go back to the Roman Empire, and we can go back to the Hallucine period 8,000 years ago. Throughout the history of the last 8,000 years, it has been warmer right now than it is at this current time. How can global warming, if it's true, be responsible for driving up CO2? What you'll find when you look at the Milankovitch cycle compared to CO2 cycles is that we get global warming, or moderate global warming, and CO2 follows. But when we go back into the Milankovitch cycle, which is the 100,000 year cycles of glacial and interglacial periods, not only does the climate cool, but CO2 follows. And we regularly show that chart where it shows the last, 500, 500,000 years of those 100,000 year cycles, and every time CO2 has dropped as the global temperature drops. So we're at the lowest temperature we have been for the last 8,000 years. According to these Michael Mann charts, they only go back to the 1800s, if that. They never go back to the 1760s, when the Industrial Revolution really started. And I could go on and on and on, but it's your Saturday. I want you to spend that time with your loved ones, but I also want you to try and help us here at the observatory try and change the tune of what's taking place right now. It needs to happen. As soon as we do that, we can start putting some money back in your pockets, because things will get cheaper. Energy costs will go down, but we just need to clear this up, and we've got to clear it up, because it's no point really us arguing about the electric vehicles, because they're not the problem. What they're saying is the problem is CO2, so we need to take it back to the root of this problem and have that debate on whether CO2 is responsible for global warming or not. And we already know the answers to that. We just need an opportunity to put this over to some of these stupid people at these organisations and at government levels. We're prepared to do that for you, but we can't do it on our own, and we need support. Guys, I'm going to now flick over to the Earth Alpha at a glance. We'll go through some of the anomalies for you, and let's get on with that now. Let's do it. So let's do this rundown. So we're over at poleshiftnews.com, Earth Alpha at a glance. If you go down on the right hand side where it says more, you can find this page. Let's start with CO2. It's at 438 parts per million. Again, for the last year, CO2 has been falling. Your mainstream media won't mention this, so I won't even cover it. But there it is. You can do this yourself. The reason why we archive all the Earth Alpha at a glance is when we do them is so that you can take any one of these anomalies that we look at, and you could do a simple Excel spreadsheet and then plot it, and you'll see what I'm saying is absolutely the truth. CO2 is falling. We've got atmospheric oxygen at 20.43. You know why we do that? Because there are certain people out there that are concerned about the levels of atmospheric oxygen in our atmosphere. We put it upon ourselves to build the equipment to do it, and we measure atmospheric oxygen as well as CO2 for you guys. There's the latest magnetic pole position for you, the longitude and latitude, as I demonstrated on the 2nd of this month, I think it was. We've got the radiation background count at 0.15 microsieverts. Active volcanoes in eruption is 15. The latest earthquake over the last 24 hours is 5.0 south of Tongo. The muons per hour per square metre in the UK are measured at 533, and the muons per square metre in Canada per hour are the same as what there was the last time. That is because we're still waiting for that muon detector, which should be there early next week with Kendall, and we can continue with updating you on the muons in Canada. Moving on to the sunspot numbers, they're at 9 at the moment. The geomagnetic field's quiet and the solar X-rays are normal. As you know, guys, the jet streams are unstable, and that is because we have, for two reasons, more cosmic rays inbound into our upper atmosphere, and they are affecting the jet streams, and that is the real reason for things changing on our Earth with regards to climate. Guys, there's a link down there if you're interested in supporting us. There is that opportunity for a few of you, if you want to be mentioned on the main website, on the landing pad of the website, so it's the first page that anyone sees. If you want to become an honorary member, chip in £1,000, we'll put your name up on the website, and we'll leave it there for a year. How's that? You can be an honorary member for a whole year, and I don't think many people are going to take us up on that opportunity, but we're trying our best here, to raise a few bucks, not just for equipment that we build, and we really believe that we can do something in fighting this BS with regards to CO2. And when you're up against companies that have millions of pounds, you can't go in there with your lemonade pockets and your champagne tastes. Simple as that. You need a few quid in your pocket. Guys, what else is there to say other than, you take care of your loved ones? I'll say what I usually do, as always.